Good morning. It's Thursday, March 12th. We are going to spend some time today talking about S323. We're starting to tie up loose ends, and we don't have council until 11 a.m., but we have a fresh draft of 323. We have people coming in the room and out of the room, and thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down, telling us where we need to get or what we need to do. And hoping that we can get there. And for the most part, it's all positive. It looks like we're going to be able to go with the cannabis control language as far as regulating hemp. And looks like through a lot of hallway conversations and talking and all that, that we've got agreements that everybody can live with this bill. Some people that are unhappy with it haven't. I will be honest about that. That probably they haven't had enough conversation with us. Because we can help them get through where they're not happy. And that's a lot to do with this bill. We're working really hard to just get our language right and get our people right, get everybody feeling comfortable and let them know that we're not doing anything nefarious with anyone. And we have a 48-page bill as it stands right now. Just got the final draft of 3.2. We're getting close. My wish was to vote this bill out today. I don't know if we'll get there, but we're definitely voting tomorrow. Bottom line. So I have Peter Sterling in the room. Anything you'd like to chat with us about? You're just here, okay. How are we with you, sir? Tell us who you are.
I'm Peter Sterling, Executive Director of Renewable Energy Vermont. I appreciate that you seem to be moving to remove the section that would prevent solar on more than 5 acres. And we still have concerns with the additional requirements you want to put in the CPG process around the creative grave audit. There's serious concerns we have with that.
So didn't we remove the most of that? Yes, we did yesterday. We just I just want you to, and that's a big thing. And I'm not picking on you in any way, shape, or form. I want a partnership with you, and I want to make sure that we remove that. We have. I think. Do you have time to go over that language?
Sure.
Come up to the table, please.
All right.
It's on page 12. On page.
That's why.
You want a copy? Sure.
This is. Linda, do you have another copy?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, here we go right here.
Right on it is the best.
Good.
On page 12. All right.
Rob, would you help us with it?
No, this is just what we had talked about. The first two yellow sections are limiting it just when it's primary ag soils, and the language that we got from Alan on the engineering firm. The third highlighted section, that last clause, I wasn't quite sure exactly what we wanted with that. I'm not sure if that's necessary, since it's just saying it's.
I don't mind that in there.
Yeah. But it says that they have to comply with what's already the law.
Right.
So, but well, like I said yesterday, this isn't something that'll cause me to vote against this law. But I think we'll hear from Peter, but there's still some questions on that, because we had not heard from the engineering firm, and we didn't get any details on what this.
We're going to use license and some other
licensed professional engineering. Right. And I emailed with Ellen about this. Okay. That's what she has suggested.
Well, I'll say this. This is obviously a tremendous improvement as far as fairness and making the process move quicker, which is cheaper. If an engineering firm is able to use a generic kind of number, it's not a per parcel situation, which it doesn't seem to be. That is a big improvement, because the PC already does this kind of analysis. So this seems to be just reinforcing Right, the PUC would already be doing as part of the CPG process and being explicit with them. And if the engineering firm's able to just pull a generic number from like NREL, the National Energy Laboratory, there's no harm done.
Right.
Those numbers are out there and we all know they point in the right direction, and that's going to satisfy concerns. And as you've expressed, this will make sure people are backing up what they say they're doing. It's going to work out. This seems to be much improved. I would certainly need to really talk to one of the engineering firms we all, are developers work with, make sure that this is not, there's something that I'm not thinking of right here on the spot, but this seems, significantly better, I must say.
I think you answered it when you said that if they already do this process on a generic, we haven't made it so that it is, has to be specific.
Yeah.
I just want to, I'll say it on record, and
Yeah.
you and I've had conversations. I've actually had conversations with Beberg about it. I've had conversations to everything. I've said it over and over and over again. The only thing that we're asking is to do everything you can do to stay out of our farm fields. That's all we're asking. And we don't want to get into your business. We don't want to expose your business. We don't want to tell people that we think it's right or wrong. We don't want to do all that. All we're asking is for every effort that you guys can make, please stay out of our farm fields. That's all we're trying to do.
The prime ag.
The prime adler, thank you for that correction, because there has been we even gave some push, we even gave some up on that as far as the way we are designated in prime ag land. So, it's all we're asking for here.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to weigh in against this. Very much appreciate it.
So, and we appreciate it too. We appreciate the working relationship, and that's what we're looking to do, is not to be the hammer to anyone. We just want to work in partnership with everyone and get everybody to, to kumbaya moment.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody want to go? I mean, we got legislative council committee here to go over some of that, this bill. Is there any part of it right now that anybody's got any concerns that they woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and thought about before leg council comes in? We have some other work we can do.
Wasn't over this.
No, I've looked at all the highlighted changes and they all seem to be what we actually get.
Good.
And excuse me.
Yeah.
As far as the situation.
Yeah.
You did, obviously you saw Pepper in there a little bit. You did, have some, that you, the Lieutenant Governor.
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did. And so, and let's talk about that live again. So we understand it's a lot like what we've done in this whole bill. It's a lot like how we worked with Peter's group and all of that. All we're trying to do is solve some problems. The problem that we're trying to solve on hemp is to get it to a structure to where the state of Vermont regulates hemp producers and producers, growers, all of that, so that these people can do business outside of the state, and the people that are signing contracts with the people have some knowledge that the state is regulating hemp in Vermont. So should there be a problem, it could be it. And that's really the gist of the language of it. And there's other things in there that people have concerns about. One are the fees. So talking about the fees, the Cannabis Control Board has indicated that they'll move on that. But that isn't the big part of this bill. But by the time that all of this passes and everything gets back through, by the time any of that stuff is enacted, the legislature will be back in 2027 or 2027. They'll be back in action, and so that they can take that on for right now. All it is right now is words on paper. I know that's dangerous stuff, but there's the gist of what we're trying to do is to get it so that these producers and these growers can sign contracts with national companies, and those companies know that the state of Vermont is back with them in rulemaking. So the conversations are still ongoing. And as we've said the other day in the conversations that we had on screen, we have been clear as a committee where we stand, which is with the farmer in the field as it's growing, and that we would let the Cannabis Control Board to do with what they want to do as far as in the regulatory part of it. But that if we thought for 1 second that our farmers were being harmed, that we would come in and we would write legislation, we'd write a bill, we'd try to get something passed to protect them. So, that's how I see it. That's how I believe it. That's all the conversations that we've had.
Yeah.
We had Pepper off screen, just coming in and giving us the nod as we were as well. And I would relay that to anyone. As I said in the chairs meeting the other day, if anybody's hearing from anyone, of their constituents about where we are with hemp and where that direction is going, please just get a hold of us. And I think that we can alleviate their fears. I know the two, Rutland senators, the Rutland and Addison County senator, have somebody that's been in the, building, that was on screen yesterday, and they're in the building again today. Again, I think we alleviated some fears when he was in here. And I would alleviate some fears if we were having that conversation right here, if he was back in here. That we still have a lot of conversations to be had. Nothing's finalized, other than we have built a structure, that was, there was a hole where, these people really couldn't sign contracts in good faith, couldn't grow in good faith. These people being the hemp producers, the hemp industry, they couldn't move forward without having some regulatory language that we are prepared to.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, on page 46, so the fees in that will be adjusted in near future, and we're just gonna keep that
I would say,
through, that's gonna stay in the bill.
I would say it would stay in the bill now because we really haven't had enough time. Nobody's really had enough time to where, nobody's really had enough time to really sit down and see, where they're at. I think if they're the fees that they have maintained, but again, I'm going to point to the conversation that we just had with Pepper that before we got online was that they are looking to adjust those as market conditions would be. They're actually looking to even exempt some folks that are ingesting. So it's going to be an ongoing discussion, but somewhere along the way, you're going to start with something.
Okay.
And that
We had
is,
talked about it, and Pepper was in here every part of that conversation, and just that we're gonna go with what is in bill.
we're gonna go with what was in the bill unless,
Correct.
I have, a senator in this room that feels very strongly that we don't. So I'm comfortable with the conversations that I've had that, that this is still a works in progress. That once we pass this, that it's still a works in progress. And if it's not, so I want to reiterate again, if it's not, by the time all of this gets determined, the legislature will be back in business and they will have the chance to adjust this in a way, that your constituents are asking you to be adjusted. I feel strongly about that. I just don't think we have enough time to hear about one of the things we've done.
And I agree with that statement. If we put to be determined, that would be, leave it too open?
I would just leave it the way that it was with the conversations that we had, because again, by the time this stuff gets all enacted, we're gonna we'll be back in session before it is all enacted. And so.
Well, some of us might be.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, you don't know the will of the people, right? So it is what it is. So
Yes.
I feel well enough that we could pass this and, if there were some people that were very upset, we'd know about it and the next legislators can act on it.
I just know the productive side, when you say, I got, or the producer side, it said I produce, 30 different things.
Yep.
Is each one a $50 fee?
Right. I also want,
I'm happy with this. It just, I
Right.
know
No, I get
it
it.
needs to be,
you're reassuring people that there's the more discussion to be had.
okay, good.
I feel strongly, from been working on this for a year, something that you guys may have been doing yourselves as well, but I've been very involved with this for a year. And the partners that I've worked with, Cannabis Control Board, the growers, the producers, everyone, there seems to be a good working relationship. It's very seldom that you have anyone coming up to you, and it's happened over and over and over again where they've said, we want to be regulated. We need to be regulated. And I just think that this bill does that first and foremost. And then there's always other things that go on to it, and that what they might not be happy with, there'll be a chance to adjust that before there's any harm that can be created. I also understand, in my mind, that there are a lot of companies that will not pay a fee to come into Vermont, and that protects the market as much as anything. So that's where I'm at. Anything else before Bradley comes in? Because we can move on. We can pivot to some other stuff. Yeah. What I'd like to right now, can everybody put their hands on this copy?
Can I run down the committee room, bring mine back?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. All this is the dollars, and we have some dollars about where we're at.
Do not have that.
Yeah, I can give you a copy. You want to go?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I got a copy.
Yeah, copy of.
Well,
Linda,
thank you.
Thank you,
Linda.
Linda.
don't step on her chair. Stay in your line.
Say your lane. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Some of this we're gonna have to chase down some stuff as well. So I think some of the stuff has been funded over to Brian from that. We're still on, so I'll just chat for a second. I doubt that I'd like to vote this bill out today, but I doubt that we can because on section 7, which was section 10, we have to have natural resources to drive by. Okay, so we have in front of us the monies request. My thought is that some of this has been taken care of in the BAA, so we're gonna have to probably track down a little bit of these dollars before we finalize it with the with the chair of appropriations. So I'm asking for some institutional knowledge of what's going on, or we're just gonna have to track it down and see if some of this has been satisfied.
I'm trying to remember whether the numbers on the paper we have were requests or in the governor's recommended budget, and I don't remember.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the pretty sure that the food bank's got some money in the DAA. I'm pretty sure that the supervisory the conservation districts, have got some money, if not the whole amount. I'm guessing that there's probably 3 or 4 of these lists of, have been satisfied,
Okay.
but what I guess I'll verify. Guess I'll track down, Senator Perchley and, Rob, or Senator Norris. Or one of our senators to see if we can, track some of that down.
Senator,
Yeah.
Scott Moore from JFO sent out a letter a while ago saying that, the one, he looked at the list and then I looked at the, Adjustment Act.
Yep.
1 million general fund for direct aid to the Vermont Food Banks Network partners food shelves and pantries through an equitable statewide distribution. As
So 1 million to the food bank.
yeah, and 900,000 general fund for a grant to Vermont Food Bank for the Vermonters Feeding Runners Program. Those were the 2 amounts in that.
Okay.
So
Adjustment.
1.9. Or instead,
Well, is it broke down 2 different places? What was the second one, Linda? So we can,
900,000 general fund for a grant to Vermont Food Bank for the Vermonters Feeding Vermonters Program.
okay.
So that's, which one's that?
so that,
Oh, the food bank,
so that must be, so, yeah, that's,
That's
it's 1.9.
Correct.
not 5 million, like they were hoping, right?
Yeah. And isn't that, if I remember right, that's at least as far as what they had last year, if not a little bit more.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
What I don't see for funding requests is for S6.
right, and I wrote that on the bottom.
Is that what, that million?
I have that million.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not a 5, that's it.
Okay.
It's right after it says 1 million at 6.
That's the one.
Well,
So
yeah,
Vermont,
we could fix this a little bit.
Vermonters feeding Vermonters.
That's part of the food bank.
Yeah, Scranton Food Bank, this is the BAA, they got 485,000 more than last year's budget in BAA. Okay, and is that up here on our list here? That's the food bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all looking for 5 years. Yeah, I know I looked at that. Because they take 40 away for Meals on Wheels.
Right.
Replace some of it back. That's clear.
Okay, why don't you start at the top of the list and maybe we can type in, Rob, you can help us find some of this maybe as we go.
Maybe, I don't know if it says this.
I wish we had the governor's recommend next one.
Okay, can we get the governor's recommend? What can we do with that? However,
Get,
what if it's in here? We have this joint fiscal office,
maybe.
fiscal facts.
That's probably the last year, although it does say 27. But this is FY 27.
Right,
Um,
it is FY 27.
Probably, the agency of administration can at least give us what we had in the governor's
Yeah,
recommend.
well, we can. You know,
Bottom line is, these are the things that we want to recommend
right,
be funded at their request.
right.
Yeah, there's, yeah, if there any discussion on that, then we can find out what's in the request is.
No, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
You remind me what the local food system is.
It's probably something about school because it says districts and supervisory units.
I assume it's different from farm to school.
Well, why don't we see if we can't flesh some of this out so we have some, ideas about where we're at. I mean, the crop cash, crop cash plus,
I know what those are.
yeah, we do. And I don't know if they were 500,000 last year or 300,000. Why don't we see if we can't, we have until tomorrow, but why don't we start kind of working on this and, seeing that we can We'll see what their requests are and where it's at. We have all the lobbyists in the building. We can find out where they're at. Let's do this in a smart way so that we're not just asking for dollars that we know are gonna earn a tight year. So I think the only thing that I'm absolutely positively secure on that we know on this list is S60. And are you guys all in agreement with the S60 part of it? So we can check S60 off. The other thing is we know, that the food bank would like $5 million, but I'm quite happy that they are, above and beyond where they got last year at the 1.9. I can say that they could be happy with that. I don't wanna say that unless I see everybody nodding their head in the right direction. Or would you wanna investigate that a little bit further?
We can ask, but when you get a little bit more than you got last year, you gotta be happy about that.
Particularly it's where we're at. But,
I'm fine with 1 point.
yeah,
Okay, so let's check that one off the list. Crop cash.
They got 450, I believe, last year. And they're asking for 5, so,
5 and 5, right?
yeah.
Cause they're asking for $1 million.
I
you
don't,
did four, I think, was it 450 total for Comcast, say that. Crop cash plus,
Who's the lobbyist for that? Maybe we can message him.
yes.
Okay, so Maddie.
Yeah.
Let me check some Maddie. Let me email Maddie. I'm asking for Maddie to call me.
Was Vermont Fairs gonna be pretty well set, or is that, yeah,
Well, we're gonna send that message out as well.
okay.
Yep.
And
Here we are. If somebody I needed,
Thought I might be able to help.
thank you.
What can I do for you?
Okay, so we're working on some funder requests as far as it's come through the committees and, we're just trying to figure out an awarded in through the BAA and what's not. And, yeah, can somebody share the list and, we can find out, where, why, and what.
Make sure for farm to school. And possibly others in conservation
Yes.
districts.
Yeah, tell us
And I'm the
tell us
representative
everything you know
list.
and who you advocate for and help us, please.
Yeah, you can, so
But
I just wanna,
if you just both identify yourselves now, then we can just talk.
yeah,
Folks, action circles.
Amy Schallenberger, Action Circles. And can I just clarify, you said BAA, so you're not looking for FY27 requests, you're just trying to get a sense of what
Well,
happened.
we wanna talk about everything.
Okay, all right, you go first.
Yeah, so the farm to school grant programs and the local food incentive, those are two different and distinct things. The farm to school grants live in the Agency of Agriculture. And the local food incentive lives in the Agency of Education. And that is money that goes directly to school districts to purchase local ingredients. Those are both in the governor's, and I do think these are the list here for conservation districts, this is their request for FY 27.
Right.
And I believe all of these are, so those two, the farm to school grant, the local food incentive, those are both in the governor's recommended budget
Okay,
at 500,000.
say that again, which one?
The top
Yeah.
is good.
The top two?
Yeah.
So they are in the governor's
Those are
recommend?
in the governor's
Okay.
recommended,
Okay.
so we are just asking for support for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
The only other one that's mine is the conservation districts.
Yeah, so I'll light us up with that one. Let's,
Great. In the governor's recommend, they are in at 612,000. Last year, they also received that in their base budget and they received an additional 250,000 in one-time dollars. And it is really important for them to preserve the services that they provide and to backfill some of the.
so say that
lost.
second part again of last year.
Last year, they received 250,000 in one-time dollars, so the request this year, is to fold that into their base, and then there's another slight I think like a 2% increase on that. Based on needs that they have identified, they have really identified a need for this 948,200. And we do have a breakdown of that number and how much goes directly to the 14 districts. And a small portion is held at the Natural Resources Conservation Council for administrative purposes of the council and as well too for part of funding for one-time needs at the districts. So I can provide that breakdown if you would like.
So the governor's recommending
612.
612 total.
Total, and we are asking, the conservation districts are asking to increase that to 900.
So you need 336,000
That's correct. It's
additional funding.
So last year you got 612 and 250.
correct.
And so you're over last year, you're asking for that 80,000.
Sorry, yes,
My bad. Well,
something on there, yes, correct. But, and, just a reminder of the testimony you heard from the conservation districts, a big part of asking for that increase in their base is because, NRCS staff have been cut in half in Vermont, and they are the entities really responsible for continuing the services that were at the federal NRCS.
In that request, that would include in part, the house that,
Anything,
no, there's a house they were.
The conservation, I think that's above and beyond, that's
That's above and beyond.
yes, that's something separate, chair analysis.
we're gonna talk about that a little bit today in institutions.
Great, I will,
With Gus Seelig as far as on that, I think, our chair is out sick, I don't know if Rob's gonna, as vice chair is gonna be running the meeting or she'll be online, but we will have that conversation this afternoon.
Great.
Okay, well, we thank you very much, very.
those are actually just mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've got, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
here we go, and on we go, sorry, Amy.
so you have listed here crop cash and crop cash plus as two separate
I
things.
might have to just take this. Hello, this is Russ, I can help you.
Should I keep going? Okay.
Okay, hold tight, or I'm gonna call you back, okay, and I'm gonna put you on speakerphone in the committee, okay, I'll call you back. Thank you, bye. Yeah, it's bad. Yes, yeah. We're gonna send you, hold on. Let me just, sorry, I apologize.
No problem.
Let me just,
making things happen.
yeah, let me just ask her if I can send her a Zoom.
So Amy, I Googled this. I'm hoping it's accurate. For the FY 27 Vermont budget, the Northeast.
Can we send you a Zoom? Are you where you can get on Zoom? Okay, let's set the Zoom on and we're just having some discussions and we're gonna grab you after that, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Brian.
That's okay. So it says the Northeast Organic Farm NOFA is requesting $500,000 in ongoing state funding to support Crop Cash Plus, and Farm Share.
Yeah, that's
So
one.
it's all,
Yeah, so you have
So
it
we have it
listed as
broken out.
two, but it's just one request for
Ah.
500,000 for
I
all
know.
three programs.
I don't know.
And they,
Where's that one now?
So that would be 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4, and
So instead of a million.
Scrap.
500,000.
No, scratch one of them because it's all included in the 500.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would we
But they're
label
bigger than
that?
it, right?
So how are we
That's what
gonna,
I'm saying. Good. A million for both of them, but.
No, they only want 500,000.
He's trying, that's what he's trying to say, I think.
Thank you. She got what I'm trying to say. We have proper cash and proper cash plus as $1 million total,
Correct.
but I'm saying we only want one of them, the 500,000.
Yeah,
So we were saying the
500
same thing, I just said it different.
500,000 funds both.
Right.
Plus a third, which is called farm
Farm
share. And together, NOPA calls all of that their local food security program.
So which one would we scratch off?
or tell us how we would label that?
Right.
Or did
So-
Patty tell us when we get
Yeah,
back on?
you would label it Prop Cash Plus, and Farm Share
Okay.
Okay,
for 500,000.
500,000 total. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Sounds like a better deal than.
in FY 26, they were allocated 450,000, but it
That's
was
what-
one-time money.
Okay,
So their request has been 500,000 for the past few years.
Yeah.
So it just continues to be the same
Okay.
request.
And the governor's record.
It's not in the government.
No,
No, this isn't the top two.
It has never been in the governor's record.
yes, I,
is that the only other one you have, Amy?
No. So
well,
just,
but wait, there's more.
yeah, wait, there's more. I'm most of this list, in fact. So the other NOFA request, as you know, is that you.
Well, if we got Maddie, she's on the line, let's bring her right in, cause she's gonna
Okay.
come on Zoom, so.
So Maddie, we did.
Well, not
No,
yet.
she's not on. She's
We're
not
gonna-
on yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's wait for her as far as. the
Okay,
developers
should
go.
I do the buffet in the meantime?
We already did that.
We're pretty much on the food bank, yes, but let's hear let's hear you, cause you're here.
So the total request for the food bank is 5 million and there's 3 buckets. Vermonters Feeding Vermonters, is the bill you passed last year, It runs through the Agency of Ag. The request for that is $2 million. And they were allocated in the big bill last year, 500,000 in one-time money, and then in the BAA this year, it was 385 additional. So I can't do that math, but it's just shy of 900,000, I believe. But they still need 2 million to adequately run the program. They have a $2 million request, which is basically passed through to the network partners, which are the food shelves across the state that work with the food bank. And you might recall that there was an allocation in the fall during the SNAP crisis when the government shut down. There was a $250,000 allocation during that time. And then last year in the big bill, there was $1 million allocated for that. So that's a 2 million request. And then the third, and that runs through, the Agency of Human Services. And the 1 million left is for what they're calling Ready Response, which is a partnership with Vermont Emergency Management that they're hoping to build. And that is living right now there's a committee bill in House Government Operations and Emergency Management Bill, and they have that appropriation in that bill. So you might see it coming across. Is Maddie on here? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, so
hi
Maddie.
Maddie, how are you?
Maddie, we already did LFS, but we're looking at a list that doesn't include Farm Security Fund yet.
Okay, great. Thank you all for having me. Always happy to join the committee. And sorry, I'm not there with you in person. For the record, Maddie Kempner, NOFA, Vermont. Do you want me to just go back over the Farm Security Fund?
I'll let you know
request
what it is
here?
that you want us to tell us, yes.
Okay, great. Well, our request for support for the Farm Security Fund for FY27 is 15.6 million. I think I mentioned that when we first came in to just do our overview of priorities for the session, and to remind the committee that is based on the formula that is currently in the bill, which is the average of the previous 3 years of documented losses divided by 2. And that includes both farm and forestry businesses, since those are, now in the bill as passed by the House and as you all concurred with yesterday. So 15.6 is the number that we are requesting for FY27.
Okay. Next,
Okay, so,
what about, I think we've got it, crop cash plus.
yeah,
And the last is $500,000 total as far as on that. That's, Amy's, filled us in on that. That's all concurred with as far as with that.
and then my last one on your list is Working Lands.
Okay,
So the Working Lands Coalition is asking for a total of $5 million. I'm not sure where this very exact number came from. But the governor's budget has base of $1 million. And the Working Lands Coalition request is to add 500,000 to the base. And then 3.5 million in one-time funding.
where were they last year, Randy?
Last year, the governor actually last year recommended $1 million in base and 3 million in one time, but only the $1 million in base survived in the big bill.
Okay.
And I don't do the fairs. That's Jackie, I believe.
Yeah, yes, and then she's gonna jump on. Did she respond? I know she texted me, Jackie.
She here.
No.
You got to zoom in, but she.
Who's doing Working Lands?
That's me.
Was that the one that how many different affiliates are in that Working Land?
In the coalition.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact number, maybe Maddie knows. There's, NOFA is a member of the Working Lands Coalition. I think there's about a dozen organizations in that coalition.
Conservation districts.
Yeah, the conservation districts are a member. The Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund is a member.
okay, that one, that brought up. Sorry. That brought up where we saw money, Vermont, what was the last one?
Sustainable Jobs Fund.
That they were collecting money on their own, plus when they were doing some other, they were collecting monies from another portion that we were giving millions of dollars to, and it's like, why is that money, why aren't they asking for that money? Why is it going from one department into the other?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I should have took better notes on that. I have it somewhere, but so break down again it's not NOFA, it's Vermont Working Lands
Coalition.
Coalition.
And the lead organization for the Working Lands Coalition is Vermont Council on Rural Development. They were the original organization that worked on getting the original legislation passed to create the program. And they've been backboning the coalition ever since the program was created.
Maddie, go ahead.
I was just going to chime in and let you all know the members of the coalition, if that's helpful. It's 14 organizations. It's VCRD, as Amy was just saying. It's the Vermont Association of Planning and Development Agencies, Vermont Community Loan Fund, Shelburne Farms, Preservation Trust of Vermont, Vermont Woodlands Association, Vermont Natural Resources Council, Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund, Agrimark Cabot, Intervale Center, Conservation Districts, NOFA, Center for an Agricultural Economy, Vermont Land Trust, Woodstock Foundation, and VCRD are the 14, just so you know.
Thank you.
Good. So it's
Steve, did
not,
you get through what you wanted?
I'll work on it because I forget, it was either through the Vermont Loans Fund that they gave the jobs people, I want to say, a loan for or grant of $50,000 or $60,000.
so you might want to have Ellen in to answer that, or Jake, because the Sustainable Jobs Fund runs several programs, and they do not run the Working Lands grant program. So they're a member of the Working Lands Enterprise Board, which is the granting authority for the Working Lands programs, where there's several members of that board through statute.
I'll do some research on it. It's
Yeah,
not a big deal.
I'm happy to
Just got-
connect you to
Right.
Ellen if you need the contact information.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
Yes, it was
hold on 1 second. I'm just moving forward.
Senator Plunkett brought back to my memory what it was. There was grantees through, now, who's this? This was under which one? I know they got a $55,000 grant to do Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund instead, to do a forest products development program.
Working Lands Enterprise Initiative. This is their service provider through Association. of
Yeah.
Grantees.
So they have, in the Working Land Grant Program, they have buckets of funding. And that's one of the reasons the coalition is asking for a bigger pot of money, because so they have, direct grants to working lands businesses like a farm or a forest products business.
That I understand.
And those are usually smaller grants, like in the tens of thousands of dollars. And then they have, like infrastructure grants where they might have a larger grant, like hundreds of thousands of dollars for like the cheese cave, that helps several producers.
Right, but my question, I'll break it down plain and simple,
Yeah.
is that Vermont Sustainable Jobs Funds comes in and asks for an allocation of a certain amount of money every year, which I cannot remember that. But it's
Yeah, they get a direct state appropriation.
right. And then they're getting more money through another Vermont Working Lands Enterprises Initiative. Because I believe they set up for this forest product development program up in the Northeast Kingdom, put together a weekend or something.
Yep.
That cost $55,000. That's. Why wasn't that money better suited to go to a producer of that rather than to outfit that Vermont already gets
Yeah.
pretty strong funding
So
from our taxpayers?
again, I don't represent the Sustainable Jobs Fund, but I will say that they are, created in statute to perform certain duties for the state. And, they also, I think the enterprise board decides where they want to focus their funding, and sometimes they identify areas where there might need to be a special project to like move something forward or figure out how to solve a problem, and especially in the supply chain. And a lot of times they'll grant with an organization that can provide the service in figuring that out. And that's one of the functions that the Sustainable Jobs Fund does. So probably that was identified as a need. And then the Sustainable Jobs Fund was probably asked to facilitate that conversation. That's my guess.
All right. Thank you.
Ready? Everybody clear with what these, three folks are advocating for? Okay, well, thank all three of you very much for coming in and saving our day, and hopefully us saving yours.
Well, we're always happy for your
Yeah,
interest.
yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay,
so much.
so thank you. We're gonna Jackie Folsom, we have on, so Jackie, come on in.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good morning, how are you? So Jackie,
Okay,
we have $300,000 in capital grant. I think that's based through institutions, is that correct?
that's correct.
And then help us with $110,000. I know you sent me an email, but it's better, or a message, but it's better for you just to tell us on screen.
The stipend, which is in the ag budget.
Okay.
Yes, the stipend is $110,000, and that is divided up into the fairs based on their a couple of different things, including their people that attend, their attendance daily or for the year. It's been at $110,000 for probably since Carolyn Partridge was chair of the House Ag Committee. So that's been a long time, and we've been very, very grateful for that. The fairs, as you know, we came in and told you how much it helps as part of their $9 million going into the total into the communities. At one point, Carolyn did find some extra money, and she bumped it up to $150,000. And the next year, the governor's proposed budget knocked it back down to $110,000. As I said when we came in, we're very grateful for that amount. We do have two fairs that came back in this year. We're going to have the Franklin Field Days coming in again in August, and Bradford came back up after a year's hiatus, as well as the Farm Show, tentatively scheduled for April 2027. So that will be three more fairs that will be divided into that $110,000. As always, grateful for whatever you could do. If you could find $20,000 to move it up a little bit on our behalf, that'd be great. But if you can't, we're very, very grateful for the $110,000.
And then how many fairs?
50. How many fairs, Jackie?
we're going back up to 14 fairs now. So we're adding the farm show next year. As you may not recall, but when the farm show went out of business, it's in statute that they were grandfathered. So they can come back in and start requesting the stipend. They can't request the capital because they don't own the land, but they can request the stipend. And so they can do that on a best guess of what their attendance might be next year. So there will be the farm show, the Franklin County Field Days, and the Bradford Fair coming back in for 2027, which will lower the pot a little bit for the rest of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you can use it for something, but it just, what do you stipend for? Yeah.
Red ribbon, blue ribbons, whatever.
Oh, okay, just ancillary things, gotcha.
Well, they use it a lot to some of them use it to turn on the lights, some of them use it for premiums, they buy ribbons ahead of time. There's a lot of expenses that they have to have prior to opening the fair. So they use that for leverage as they do with the capital grants. It turns out to be about between $7,000 and $11,000 per fair, depending on how it's divided out. So it isn't a lot of money, but it's very helpful to all of them.
That was gonna be my next question. Does it break down evenly among all the fairs? Doesn't matter size, or is it by attendance?
It's by attendance. So for example, Guilford actually came back online 3 years ago. Bonneville actually came online 4 years ago. So those were two New Year fairs we added. Guilford gets about the smallest amount of money because it's one of the smaller fairs. Bradford also, which is Connecticut River Valley, would get a smaller amount. So it is based on attendance. Addison, Caledonia, and Champlain Valley and Vermont State Fair usually get the higher amount because they have the bigger attendance.
Who has the highest attendance group?
Champlain.
Kind of. Is it Champlain Fair or is it?
Yes, it's definitely Champlain.
Let's
Try to poke your chest out over there.
Let's go to second and third place. Who's
Well, who's the actual largest agricultural fair?
Let's want to go to Addison
I know.
and Rutland now. We gotta get this one
It's
set.
It's a friendly competition. So, this year when you get your passes, take your whole family, go to every fair, move that attendance up and we'll see what we can do.
Well, I want to see a bloodbath here.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to rumble. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you very much for short notice and jumping in. We appreciate you always. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Okay. So, folks, I think do we get down through that list fair enough?
Yep.
We want to start. We want to just make a clean copy so we can get that
Sure.
moving
Yep.
forward. Okay. So,
If they got 14 fairs, then we could squeeze 144.
okay, so let's get something that Linda can write up for us in language that we can write up. So starting again at the top. Tell me how that's written out.
Those are the two easiest.
Okay,
They're
so,
both in the governor's recommend.
okay, so both of those, so.
Yeah.
We're up to school. And early. Childhood. Grants program. $500.
Yep.
And then local food.
Yep.
Incentives.
That's the AOE budget.
District. And supervisory unions. Supervisory unions. 500,000.
Yep.
Okay, so the next one is, how are we gonna label that? There's gonna be cash crop,
Crop cash,
Comma.
crop cash,
slash,
yeah,
crop cash plus,
crop
cash plus, slash farm share.
cash. Plus. Come on, tab, if you're not writing. Right here. This is the biggest.
Is that one of them high quality Eagle pens?
Actually, it is. Doesn't write on that table very well. And what was the last one? Crop,
Farm share.
farm share. Running out of ink. Farm share and that's 500,000 total, right?
Yep, they got 450 last year.
Okay. And then we are the Vermont Food Bank.
Yep.
And we going with 1.9.
They want it. Do we give them that comparison when you go to ask? You say this is what they
There you
really
go.
want? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Conservation districts.
Based on what? I wrote 850. But only because I think last year I got 862.
You got 850?
Well, that's what I wrote. I mean,
But they got six.
Let's talk.
The
Yeah,
governor's
let's
budget
everybody-
was 612.
plus 250.
Plus, so why don't we try to get 300 for them?
Okay.
To the additional
Yeah.
50 this
I
year.
just want to clarify, the 250 one time is not in the governor.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Time last year.
We're trying to push it for 300 this year.
Tell me the number.
So,
350,
so
350.
it would be, if you gave them the 300, it would be 912.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, working lands.
So the governor gave them $1 million last year.
Right.
They're asking, well, they're not asking for 6, but they're asking for 5. Ouch. That,
You know, they were $1 million.
that's gonna be heavy lift, I think. I mean,
Or 1,500,000, so we show we get a million, still as good as we were. 95?
Correct.
try to do something for them, but I mean, so go from $1 million to $5 million each.
Especially. And where Vermont is right now.
I'm going to,
that with the.
I'm sorry.
No, we'll wait. We got time. Go
It's gonna take me a little while.
Okay. And then we are, the Vermont Fairs,
I'd leave the 410, I'm sorry, the 300,000. You've already
Right.
got.
we've got that in our, that's
Institution.
pretty safe.
And I bumped the other one up to 160.
So we don't have to say the 300,000 as far as in here, because we're not requesting that from,
Right, from this committee.
right, so we're all we,
Oh,
yeah, so all we gotta say is the 110, we're gonna try to go up that to 1,
six,
tell me the number,
like it's got another 50.
Yeah.
160?
Yeah.
And then we have,
Yeah.
the
It's a
S60.
big one.
S60, $1 million.
Any luck on finding any other money?
No.
I know we're trying,
That kind of petered out.
it kind of thought.
Kind of did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were a lot of big talkers at the
Yeah,
beginning.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, if we don't have a flood or a drought or a freeze in May, maybe we can
Get 5 this
hold
year.
it.
Rob, whenever you,
No, yeah, I'm just looking at the history of what they had, they requested. It's so radically different. Of $1.5 million makes sense. So I'm trying to start a progression back. They did have 5 million.
That was the COVID.
that was a COVID bonds, right?
And all the others are relatively less.
I'm glad you
You
brought
say
that up.
relatively less or?
Well, so, last year was $1 million, as we said, before that was $1 million, but 2024 was 3.1 million, but 2 million the year before that, but that's all sort of all during that same
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
period. And they had a lot of funding requests during that too.
Would you suggest, Steve, 1.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
For working lands,
Yeah, you know, they got at least try to increase, and if not the same, it's.
I think this one does, they leverage a lot. The difficulty that's. Yeah.
Well, I think we've got that done. Already 8:30.
No. Linda, we need.
Want to still eating?
Hey, yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, I think, we've gone through that. We're still looking at 11 o'clock. Bradley can come.
Okay.
Everybody good for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.